Thank you for welcoming me onto your screens. I'm Eddie, and this is the Rollback. Folks, today I'll be covering the new Netflix movie, The Guilty. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal. Now, quick intro. So, this is an incredibly stressful movie. Fair warning to everyone. It manages this bottle format. Now, for those who don't know what a bottle format is, it's when an entire episode or an entire movie takes place over one thing, whether it's one person, one setting, or one real issue. A really notable example of this would be the Family Guy episode where Stu and Brian are locked in a bank vault. Now, this whole movie takes place covering just one guy. He's not the only character you see on screen, but he's pretty much the only real main character you see on screen. It's a movie full of phone conversations that just get more and more and more stressful. To be honest, I haven't seen a more successful series of phone calls, more stressful phone calls since Locke. It's a good movie. Now, to talk about the actors real quick, Jake Gyllenhaal is this whole movie. His character is Joe Baylor, an LAPD detective who's on desk duty / suspension, pending an investigation that'll be wrapping up in court tomorrow. Along the way, this is the most stressful shift you can possibly imagine. Let's just jump right into it. Look, this story, it covers Joe. He gets a phone call from a woman in distress. She's been abducted, and he's trying to put together where she is and save her, all while dealing with limited resources. Where her kids are, is Oliver okay? Which, fuck. California Highway Patrol, there's swamp, there's wildfires. It's a stressful movie. This whole film follows Joe as he navigates a broken system. And I won't spoil the twist, but I will say this film is more than just about simple 911 calls. It's not just a simple thriller. It's a story about a broken healthcare system and a broken system in general that doesn't help people with mental illness. I'm not saying it's akin to the Joker, but this movie goes in that direction. And again, a masterclass from Jake Gyllenhaal in his acting. He anchors this movie so well. And again, this movie is not long. It barely breaks 90 minutes. It's not a bad movie. It's not a movie that takes long. But you get so entrenched so quickly. There are a few laughs here and there. But also, Joe Baylor is such a flawed character. But you can't help but like him to some degree. Granted, he's made some mistakes. No way around it. But on this particular day, you can't help but want him to succeed and be along for the ride. Jake Gyllenhaal, again, masterclass in acting. His facial expressions, his crying, I can't imagine this. And here's what I just found out. They filmed it in 11 fucking days. I mean, it makes sense. It's a bottle, it doesn't take that much resources. But to film this whole movie in just 11 days, I gotta imagine it took a toll on the guy. But not a bad fucking job, all things considered. Not a bad movie at all. So anyway, this movie is stressful, but great. The acting is, again, amazing. The story is good. And there's so much there, so much more below the surface. The more you unravel, you can't help but talk to whoever you're watching it with, if you're watching with anybody, and just go, what do you think is going to happen next? Because it's that interesting. Now, that said, as far as the content is concerned, it can drag for some people. Again, it's only 90 minutes long, but for some people it may feel like forever because you're following just one character. That said, for my grade, B+. I mean, I watched this movie twice in 2 days, and it still got me the second time. It's still stressful as fuck, and you can still feel the tension in the air. Would I recommend it to people? Hell yes. There's a reason why it's top 10 on Netflix. Go watch it so you can be part of the discussion. I recommend that. That said, that's going to cut it for this episode of The Rollback. Again, short episode, but there's not much to say other than fucking great movie. Stressful ass movie, but great movie nonetheless. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I'm going to cut it for The Rollback. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do so. We'd greatly appreciate it. Also, just down below in the description, there's our podcast links. Please go listen to those too. They're all great mostly, especially if I'm there. That said, I've been Eddie, and this was The Rollback. See you, everybody.